This is a wonderful event. It's the 8th annual Abilities First Award ceremony. Thank you all for being here today. When I was asked to MC this, there was no hesitation. My brother, when he was 5 years old, was involved in a horrible car crash and he was paralyzed. Today he's employed with a company out of Hamilton. So without companies that are willing to open up their doors and employ people who have a special ability, he wouldn't have a job today. So thank you all for being those people. I'd like to introduce Leslie Oliver, the co-chair of Ability First Coalition, to come up here.
Okay, what a full room. Thank you all very, very much for being here. We really appreciate your attendance. We would like to thank everyone for coming. Congratulate all the nominees for doing this work and being open and participating in this community. And we would also like to thank the nominators. Or if you hadn't participated, we wouldn't be here either. I'd like to acknowledge the territory. We're situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenni Lenape, and Ottawa-Darin peoples. We have long-standing relationships to the land and region of southwestern Ontario and the City of London. The local First Nation communities of the area include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. In the region, there are 11 First Nation communities and a growing Indigenous urban population. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples of Turtle Island. Could I have they're gonna hate me, could I have the members of the Ability First Coalition stand up, please? I would just really like to thank them for their hard work. You guys have done a great job, and thank you, our liaison with the PI organizations. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you for everything. And I'd also like to recognize our dignitaries, Kate Young, MP for London West, Peter Fragiscatos, MP for London North Central, Deb Matthews, MPP, London North Centre, and Peggy Sattler, MPP, London West. And I'd also like to welcome Alf Spencer from the Accessibility Directorate of Ontario. You came a long way this morning in this lovely weather. Thank you, Rena. I'd also like to thank our sponsors for the lovely gifts. I hope you've all had a chance to bid. If not, please go. But if you see the name Leslie Oliver, don't bid, please. No, thank you, Digital Echidna, TD Bank Group, 3M, City of London, and Wizards of Video. And, those are our sponsors. Our silent auction contributors are 3M Canada, Ability First Coalition, Car Proof, Community Living London, Good Life Fitness, Goodwill Industries, Jim Dean Law, Jim Lau and Henry Poon, London City Chrysler, March of Dimes, Partners in Employment, London Middlesex, Pride London, and Rachel D. Designs. Okay, just to go through some of the eligibility for becoming a nominee. The awards are designed to recognize and celebrate employers and individuals that motivate and support the hiring and retention of persons with disabilities. The Ability First Champion Awards are open to all employers and individuals that have successfully hired and retained persons or a person with a disability. And to be eligible, the nominated employer or individuals must have been actively doing business for at least 2 years in the City of London or in the counties of Elgin, Middlesex, and Oxford. So we have a few welcome announcements. So first, I would like to introduce the honorary chair of the Ability First Coalition. And if she hadn't answered the call to go to Ottawa, I wouldn't be standing here because she was the chair and was with Ability First Coalition for many years. And a lot of other positive things came out of her going to Ottawa. But I would like to welcome, please, Kate Young, MP for London West, and the Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction. And wow, look at this crowd. Oh my gosh. I tell you, as someone who's been with Ability First from the very beginning, this warms my heart to see such a big room. I think we started in a very small room, and every year it keeps growing, and that just speaks to the commitment of London businesses to this cause. As honorary chair of the Ability First Coalition, I'm very proud to bring greetings on behalf of the Government of Canada and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Since becoming a member of Parliament, I have had the good fortune of getting to know both the former Minister of Sport and People with Disabilities, the Honourable Carla Qualtrough, and the present Minister, Ken Dare. Both of them are true champions of this cause because they know firsthand the challenges faced by people with disabilities. Minister Qualtrough is legally blind, and Minister Hare was injured when he was a teenager, severely injured. He now uses a motorized wheelchair to get around, and believe me, he's fast, especially when he needs to be. When we have votes in the House, and my colleague Peter Fragazzados will know this for sure, when we have votes in the House, we're expected to be in our seats when the bells stop ringing. With every vote, there are the odd stragglers who run to their seats to make sure they're in place when the votes begin. If they're not there, their vote does not count. Recently, Minister Hare, who has a desk right beside the speaker, came in just as the bell stopped, and we were all wondering if he could get to his spot in time. He must have set his wheelchair on Mach speed because he just flew to the front of the House. I swear the speaker was shocked he could move that fast. But nothing will stop the minister from doing his democratic duty, and his vote that day counted. Both Minister Hare and Minister Qualtrough have their own stories of breaking barriers, both literally and figuratively. I can only imagine the amount of strength it takes them both to do their jobs day in and day out. But like many people with disabilities, they are determined not to let the disability define their lives. They are true champions who know that the Ability First Coalition strives to challenge businesses to look beyond the disability and see the potential of every single person, no matter their race, gender, sexual orientation, or disability. My mother used to say, "Isn't it good that we're not all the same? The world would be a very boring place to live in." That would be indeed. Thank you to everyone here today for making our world so very interesting, and good luck to all of the businesses, small, medium, and large. Thank you for doing your part to help people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. I'd also like to introduce the Honourable Deb Matthews to bring greetings from the province. Deb is the MPP for London North Centre and is the Deputy Premier, Chair of Cabinet, Minister of Advanced Education and Skills Development, and Minister responsible for digital government. But she still has time to come and meet with us. Deb?
It really is wonderful to be here with you. I want to start by saying thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for being at this breakfast, of course, but more importantly, for the spirit that drives you to be here today. I'm delighted to bring greetings on behalf of our Premier Kathleen Wynne and the Government of Ontario, and I'm really happy that my colleague in the legislature, not in the caucus, but in the legislature, Peggy Sattler is here. Thank you, Peggy, as well. I really want to congratulate you all on being part of a really important change in our society. Creating a more inclusive, more dynamic, more supportive place for people with disabilities is a very high priority for us, for our government, and for our communities. 1 in 7 of us has a disability, And yet the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is way higher than the unemployment rate as a whole, far higher, which means there's a whole lot of talent that is not being put to work. So we're really trying to support businesses to expand, and we want people of all abilities to be part of that growth. We were just talking about Madam Mayor, the former minister who introduced the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. I remember being in the legislature when that bill was passed. The gallery was filled with people who were supporting that groundbreaking legislation. And this past spring, I had the wonderful opportunity of announcing Ontario's employment strategy for people with disabilities with my colleagues Tracy McCharles and Helena Jasic, And this demonstrates our commitment to make Ontario accessible by 2025. I know when we passed the AODA, 2025 seemed like forever, but every year that approaches, we are becoming more accessible. So what were the 4 priority areas in the strategy? The first is supporting the development and employment goals of students and young people. The second is engaging employers as partners and champions, and that's what this is all about. The third is streamlining employment and training services to better meet the needs of job seekers and employers. And fourthly, making sure that government was leading the way, that the government positions itself as an accessibility leader. So the great work that's happening here in London is an inspiration to others. Something like this is societal change. This is about thinking of people with disabilities as people with terrific abilities. And we need the champions to be the pioneers and to go out and talk to their friends, their neighbors, the people they work with, and demonstrate that actually there's a great advantage to being an inclusive and welcoming employer. So right now, about 30% of our employers say they're having trouble filling job vacancies. Yet on the other hand, we have a great pool of people with disabilities who are looking for work. So we've called on all employers to take action. If every business in Ontario that has 20 or more employees hires just one more person with a disability, 56,000 people looking for work could have a job. If every business, 20 or more employees, hired one person with a disability, 56,000 people with disabilities would have a job. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think we can do it, and I think employers will see the benefit of having someone with a disability in their workplace. So thank you for being champions. Thank you for being leaders. Thank you for making a good decision and a smart decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Deb. And I would also like to extend greetings to everybody from Mayor Matt Brown, who wasn't able to attend this morning due to a scheduling conflict. And I will hand it back over to Rita, who is going to introduce our great guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Leslie. At this time, I'd like to introduce someone who's very special, David Patchell-Evans. Now, most of you know Patch. He's the founder and CEO of Good Life Fitness. He started with a single club in London in 1979, and today Good Life has grown to be the 4th largest fitness company in the world with 385 clubs and 1.4 million members across Canada. A familiar Canadian success story indeed. Now, Patch is equally well known as a person that cares about the health and fitness of Canadians, and he also cares deeply and is able to personally relate to the challenges of disabilities. Patch went through a lengthy rehabilitation after a serious motorcycle accident at the age of 19, and he experienced sudden onset rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 32. And then his daughter's diagnosis of profoundly autistic at the age of 3, right up to grappling with the new challenges now that she is an adult. Please put your hands together and welcome Patch.
Interesting. I was quite nervous to come here because I kind of do what every one of you do. I have different roles. Obviously, I employ people with disabilities. Most of the time, I feel like I have disabilities. Like something as simple this morning is trying to open the jars at home. I couldn't open any jars. I kind of went, now what do I do? I'm not eating. So I broke one. So, and then, I live in a world where I daily have my phone with me to see how my daughter's doing. My daughter is, I'll talk more about my daughter, but she has bipolar, she does have OCD, she does have epilepsy, and she is severely autistic. So I kind of feel like I'm in most of your shoes. And when Wendy asked me about this, I wasn't really sure if I could talk to you and keep it together. So I will keep it together. So it's an honor to be here. And the whole idea of what you guys do, the difference you make, especially if you're an employer and you're hiring people, if you give them 2 hours, it's like they will plan their whole week around it. Everyone needs to have meaning in their life, and you provide meaning. But I'll back up, I'll tell you a story. I went to Western University here and took a degree in kinesiology, was doing my master's in exercise physiology. They gave me a PhD for talking too much. And so I have a whole bunch of degrees. And spent a lot of time in school, spent a lot of time going to places around the world trying to get smarter, better at things to do. And then when I reflect, however, what I've really learned from his life. And it's not the things that I want. It's the times that I was put under enormous stress or where I lost. And I remember, for example, going up to the 1980 Olympics in rowing. I used to row a lot because I took up rowing to try to build my body back up. And the Olympics were boycotted. Everything I wanted to do in my life was centered on that. And then the politician took it away. And the politician took it away for the right reasons, but it just didn't matter at the time. Then you're thinking, what do you do with your life? And I remember being 8 years old and seeing my father die in a car in front of me. And I know how now, having taken a little bit of psychiatric work again, I understand the effect that had on me as a person. But these things build your character, and they constantly force you to challenge your beliefs. What I do know is they created in me the power of self-belief, the power of having a positive vision. I realized a long time ago, when I was 8 years old, that if I wanted to have a life, if I wanted to have something different, I had to create it. And so when I had a motorcycle accident at university, I ripped apart the right-hand side of my body. I was classified by the insurance company as permanently disabled. This arm wouldn't go straight, my shoulder used to be down like this, and I was going to get these regular checks from the government, not just the government, but the insurance company. And I was going into the rehab clinic at Kennedy Fowler, and in the rehab clinic there were people training for the Olympics, and they were kicking it, they were just really going for it, just full of vigor. And I was doing my stretches for my shoulder, and I remember the one in particular. Itsy bitsy little spider walked up the water spout. Itsy bitsy little spider walked up the water spout. The woman beside me is kicking butt. Yeah! 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 Itsy bitsy damn spider walked up the water spout. I'm 19 years old. I'm thinking I'll never get a date in my life. I'm gone. I should just go away. Itsy bitsy little spider. Yeah! 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 And I'm going. I went to the guy named David Patchell-Evans. Is there any way I could get better, faster? He looks at me like I'm crazy. He goes, you could come more often. But I said, they told me to come twice a week. He says, just because they told you to come twice a week doesn't mean you can't do more. I said, well, how often should I come? He says, well, if you really want to win, come all the time. I ended up coming 4 to 6 hours a day, and I started to think like the Olympians that were training there. And I started to think, I don't have to be disabled. I can get anything back. So as you can see, my shoulder's almost as tall as this one. If this arm doesn't go straight, but it's not like this anymore. And I had a really good athletic career after that. What I found is the power of thought, the power of belief, and the power of vision. Because I said, this is the way I want to be in 6 months. I want to be capable again. And finally, I told the insurance company, they started sending these checks. I said, what happens if I'm not disabled anymore? They said, well, just stop sending money. And I thought, well, I'd rather be the best person I can be than worry about getting the check from the government. So everybody you hire and give it a little job for a while, they feel the same way. They would rather be self-sufficient. They would rather make a difference for themselves. This process made me want to help others the way I got helped. And so I switched from, originally I was in business, and I switched to physical education, focused on physical education, and all the courses I took were about how to get people in better shape. And kept focused on that, kept getting better at it, and I put myself in university snowplowing. So this morning, when he asked me if I would be here on time, I said, it's snow. I've done this a lot. I spent 10 years driving a snowplow every single night that it snowed. So, yeah, I'll be there with you. You don't have to worry about it. I don't care how scorpy it snows. And actually, I used to snowplow this place. And this, by the way, is a great place to bring a special needs child. Anyways, so the national rowing team is I was rowing, and I was snowplowing, I was going to school, and the national rowing team told me to go join this club and work out there. And I joined there, and I kept asking the guy all kinds of business questions. It turned out he was losing his shirt, and one day he said to me, why don't you buy this business? He asked me any questions. So I went to my rowing practice, I came back with a case of beer in the vats. And we drank the beer, and I woke up the next morning, I was the owner. And I had to make a fast decision because he was done, he was finished. And so that's how my company started. And then I became totally intense on building this company. And every single person that came through the door was a life to be changed. And we still talk about that, a good life. We're changing lives. We're giving people opportunities to get stronger, to live longer, to look good, to feel energy, to cope with things from diabetes to heart conditions to depression. We are driven to change people's lives. And I would make one club and I'd build it, and things would get stable, and I'd save some money and I'd buy a house, and then I'd have a chance to build another club, and then I'd sell the house, and I'd build a second club, or the third club. So I ended up selling my house 5 times. Finally, one day I got married, and my wife said, "Can you stop selling your houses and we just stay one place for a while?" But I put everything I could into the business, and I really believed I could create something that made a difference. And the focus always was on making a difference in people's lives, just like you guys are focused on that right now. That's why you're here. That's why you came from Toronto, because you will make a difference in someone's life. And things were going on pretty good. We were having our 10th anniversary, and we're having a party right here in London. And just before the party, I get a call from my bank. Can you come in and see us? I said, well, I got this party going on. We have a different kind of party we want to talk to you about. So I went to see my bank. It was actually the TD Bank, which is still my bank. But it turned out that I didn't have any money. Which actually came as a bit of a surprise to me at the time. Because I thought I was doing okay. But it turned out that I had an investment. And I had this big crisis going on. And so I had to go to the party as if nothing had happened. As if nothing had happened. And the party, and some of the 10th anniversary, no one could know. I had to keep the secret, because if people knew, they would lose faith. And often when you have, whether it's a psychological disability, physical disability, often you're hiding it, you're not letting people know. You have to keep a vision of what you want, you have to keep faith. And our job in this room is to help people, even if we don't know if they need help. So anyways, that night, I met the woman that ended up becoming my first wife, mother of my kids. So obviously I kept a good enough face right. Obviously I fooled a couple people. And so I had to start building a business and turn it around. They had patience. I said, there's nothing wrong with the business. I just had a little problem with the accounting. And built it back up, spent the money, and things went pretty well. So those were two kind of crises that I dealt with that I had to adapt to. But I had another thing that had shaped my personality. I started rowing when I was 21 to recover from injuries, I said, and I got good at it. I'm built the way a rower should be built. Tall, lean, and you could just work as hard as you want rowing. You didn't have to be particularly athletic. You just had to work really hard and to have a vision of what you wanted. And I enjoyed that. I kept rowing until I was about 31, and I'm 32, and gone to a bunch of championships, won a bunch of medals, down in Toronto actually, and then I was up in my cottage just kind of relaxing, first thing in the morning. I wake up, often we wake up early in the morning, you have to go to the washroom. That never happened to any of you, right? So I woke up, and I wanted to get up, but I couldn't. I couldn't get up. So I'm trying to get the sheets off the bed, but I can't get the sheets off the bed. I can't actually grab the sheets. And it's just starting to get daylight. And I looked at my fingers, and every one of my fingers was at least as big as a cucumber. And then I'm trying to figure, why can't I get up? And then from my neck up to my ear was just a solid gelatin mass. For the next 3 years, this was the movement I had. And I'm trying to get on my feet, but my feet were about the size of watermelons. All soft and puffy. The little things like my elbows. Some of you people who have known me for a while remember when my elbows used to stick out that far. I didn't know what had happened to me, but it got worse. And I had to crawl to the washroom. By then I really had to go, right? And I tell that story because when you have some kind of disability, the little things can be really, really hard. Really hard, And I remember staying at the Detroit airport shortly after this happened, taking 2 hours to get through the Detroit airport. And I remember standing outside doors, waiting for something to open, because my hand can't grab the handle, and I can't push it. These are the kind of challenges that lots of people have. A friend of mine, Rick Hansen, tells me about sitting outside doors in his wheelchair, just waiting for someone to show up. So I had this thing on instant onset arthritis, and it woke me up. The things that people that don't have everything have to deal with, and the resources, the mental capability, they have to just persist. And it created a level of empathy in me that I didn't realize I didn't have. I thought I was empathetic. I was teaching people how to have better lives with their fitness problem. But I didn't realize I didn't get it because I hadn't been in their shoes. I hadn't been old. That night I became instantly old. That night I got it. And my company started to take off after that for 2 reasons. I taught people more empathy, but I realized I could no longer think I could do everything. I was no longer the elite athlete. I was the weak guy. So I had to rely on people more and more. And then the big thing I learned is I had to share my vision of the way you push people to accept other people's vision like that. So I thought I had a good enough challenges. And my first child was born, totally in love. I was an older dad in my 40s. And this is great. My daughter had some issues, like throwing her food at the floor, not paying attention or paying too much attention. Kind of yelling and screaming a lot. Being your first kid, you're not really sure. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to sleep. And mine wasn't sleeping. trying to cope with what's going on. And so we figured out that she had an ear problem. She couldn't hear properly. Because she just didn't pay attention when we said things. So we took her to the doctor. And we went to the doctor, and we're in there, and he says this down, and looks at us and goes, okay, your daughter has severe autism. Very, very low IQ. You should institutionalize her and get on with your life. That was the most point of life. That was the point where I had, what do I do? I can't fight this. I can't over-exercise this. What do I do? So I drove up the chapters, bought every book on autism. They were equally depressing. You know, I'm supposed to put my kid away, say goodbye. So decided I'm not doing that. The same thing, the same spirit, the same sense of goals like that helped me with arthritis, that helped me with the accident, luckily helped me with autism. And it said, you know, I'm going to find a way to help her. I'd like you for a second just to close your eyes. Just close your eyes. I want you to imagine tomorrow that someone you desperately love, like a child, someone that you're really close to, imagine tomorrow they stop talking and they started yelling. Their behavior totally changes. They stop talking and start yelling. Imagine this person you love is in pain, but they don't know how to tell you where hurts, why it hurts. Imagine tomorrow the person you love doesn't look at you anymore, doesn't have eye contact with you. Imagine tomorrow the person you love doesn't eat properly, and when they do, they throw their food on the floor, they throw it on the walls. Imagine tomorrow the person you love wants to sleep, you know what they want to sleep, but something in their body stops them, they can't sleep. Imagine tomorrow the person you care about frequently hits you, bites you, scratches you, jumps at you. Imagine tomorrow this person you love has uncontrollable seizures out of nowhere that you don't understand, they can't explain it to you. Imagine they can't cope with the frustration so much that to focus their energy, they bite their hands, they bite their legs, they injure themselves. You have to put a helmet on them so they stop hurting themselves. Imagine they rip out their hair to try to make the pain go away. You don't know what's happening to them. You don't know how to help them. You stop sleeping, you stop eating, your only worry is looking at them. Imagine you can't go anywhere in public with the person you love the most. You go to work totally exhausted, but you go because you need the money and it's the only freedom you have. You try to tell your friends about this. You try to tell your families. You try to tell your coworkers. You tell them you're on this journey, but you have no idea where you're going and who you're with. And imagine, you guys, as you open your eyes, imagine that you think this is all your fault. All the thing that's happened to the person you love, you think is your fault. That's what people who have special people in their lives often think and feel. With my daughter, it got to this point that I most of the time couldn't go into work and I had to bring work to me. I was lucky that way. We're talking about having people come to you and have a chance to work there. I had a playroom in the house where I would work with her 12-hour shifts with people volunteering. You know, people that work with me came and volunteered, friends came and volunteered, people out of the blue came and volunteered. And they volunteered to help because they learned from the experience. When we employ people, we learn from the experience. It's unbelievable what we learn. And we worked with my daughter for years and, you know, tried to get in contact with her, and I desperately wanted eye contact. I wanted her to know, I just wanted to know that she knew that I was her dad. I, you know, had no, language or anything, just yelling. But I just wanted her to look at me, and I just wanted her to know, Dad. And I had a pool at my house, and my daughter loved the water and having it around her, so spent a fortune heating the pool in the winter. And we would swim probably 2-3 hours a day. And she was capable of going down to the bottom and staying there for a couple minutes. So that was my job, go down to the bottom and stay there, so she could keep her breath longer than me. But one time when I bottom of the pool, and she's looking around. She stopped at the bottom of the pool and looked at my eyes. It was the first time she looked at my eyes. It was like, I wanted to scream, so I took in a bunch of water. But I was so excited. It was like getting an Olympic medal. Just that eye contact. A couple of years later, when she was 7, I had a big business meeting upstairs, but I said, I gotta take a break. I'm going down to the playroom for 2 hours with my daughter. And I'm down there, we're doing stuff, and she's doing blocks. I remember it so distinctly. She does 2 blocks, I do 2 blocks. She does 4 blocks, I do 4 blocks. And the thing about working with her is, the point of doing this was not to try to bring her into my world. The point of doing it was to go into her world, to do everything that she wanted, so that she would get comfortable enough to go past the pain that was going on in her body and try to contact me. So for 4.5 years at this stage, and in that playroom, trying to get close to her, just doing what she did. If she spun, I spun. If she jumped up and down, I jumped up and down. If she waved her arms, I waved her arms. If she went to the washroom, I pretended to. So that she thought I was in her world. And then she's doing these blocks, like I said, and I did the blocks, and she did the blocks, and I did the blocks, and she did the blocks, and I did the blocks. And then all of a sudden she looked at me, leaned forward, and kissed me. My first kiss. She was 7. All of a sudden I realized all that work and all that effort was worth the kiss. You guys in your businesses will get a moment like that. When all of a sudden the person goes, you make a difference. And it might not be words, it'll just be the way they look at you. It's like appreciation, thankfulness. These are things you can't buy. It's just the depth of the heart will come that contact. I remember that moment every day. Every time I have to think, what do I need to do? I remember that moment. So for 20 years, I've held on to the belief that Keely will be happy. That's my daughter's name, Keely. She's named after Mount Kilimanjaro. My belief would be that my daughter would be a happy, healthy human being. That she would be loved and respected. That's all I wanted for her. At the start, I wanted her to be cured. Like it was something that, we needed to go for. I grew to understand she's perfect just the way she is. And that was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn, was that she was perfect just the way she was. So I chose to focus on what I wanted for me and for her without conditions, which is the way we have to do it in our employment. And it taught me so much, like, we can spend an enormous amount of our lives thinking about our fears, thinking about what could go wrong. What are people thinking about us? What if someone leaves us? What if our boss gets upset? We can spend all this energy on what's wrong. And what having a daughter with autism has taught me is to just focus on what's right, to focus on the glory, to focus on the things that happen the way I wanted to. And it taught me the same thing at work. At work, I started off so focused on being successful at work because I was dead broke. A mother with 3 boys and no money. And I wanted to make some money because it means we would never get kicked out of our apartment again. Money would make me safe. And once I had enough money, my motivation changed. I realized that I could make a difference in all these lives. And that's what drove me. And with arthritis, realizing the fitness part, if I hadn't focused on fitness, arthritis would have become an overwhelming disability. In fact, when I first got diagnosed with arthritis, they said, don't exercise. I said, I have to exercise. And 5 years later, the same doctor came back to me and says, will you come speak to the medical school about the benefits of exercise and arthritis? That's the power of belief. Right? Like if you kind of know something's right, hang in there. So it makes me want to help people realize their dreams. So for you people in the room, I don't know what motivates you. I don't know why it motivates you. But what I encourage you to do is decide what it is. Find that motivation, harness it. Think about your motivation every day. Create a dream, a daily dream of what you want for your life. And that dream, what's going on in your head, has enormous impact. It's actually the only thing that does. You are what you become, what you think about. What you hold inside your head will 100% influence what you become. Autism has been my greatest challenge. It's also been my greatest gift. To work with my daughter, I had to enter someone else's life in their way they wanted entered. I had to be what they wanted to be, they wanted me to be it. The definition of success became, my definition of success became if I could contact them the way they wanted it. The only way I really would have understood the power of connection, the power of love, was if I hadn't had a daughter with autism. It was the only thing that pushed me to get that close to it. That's the gift of humanity. People with special challenges, special abilities can give us. In today's world, everyone's got an earbud, but everyone wants to get connected. People want to be noticed, they want to be understood. If you can get close to them, you can help them understand. This is my daughter. There should be a picture right there. This is me speaking of Day. This is my picture of my daughter a few days ago, getting ready for Halloween. Again, on Day, there's 20,000 teenagers. You get a little nervous about 20,000 teenagers. You know that? This is easy. 20,000 teenagers are like, wow. Talking about autism. And I talk about Keely being the dream that I realize now that became true. Keely is the thing that made me connect with the world. Now my daughter lives with myself, my wife's, I remarried a wonderful lady named Sylvia Laman. My daughter lives with us and our 3 other kids. She has friends. I take her to dances. She has people that care about her. And most of the time she's happy. Yes, there are times with challenges, but most of the time she's happy. And what I've learned is we can't change the events of our lives. These events can humble us, they make us real, but they can also strengthen us. They can enrich us. In fact, I hope the story that I've just told you enriches your life. Makes you aware of the possibilities, of the people you work with, the people you have a chance to connect to. Makes you realize the common humanity we all share. We all have far more in common than we have different. So I'd like to leave you with this last thought. Look around and appreciate people for who they are. Just who they are. Be present with people to who they are. Be grateful for who they are. And celebrate, rejoice in all the things you have to be grateful for, especially the smallest gift.
We're good? Okay, there we go. Thank you again, Patch. That was very inspirational, and it's great to get to know a little bit more about you. So thank you for sharing your story. At this time, I'd like to remind everybody that the silent auction is closed. At the end of the event, the names will be on that whiteboard just by the door, so check it out before you leave. We'd like to start the awards portion of today's ceremony. We are going to be calling up each winner, and they're to come to the stage, receive the award, and have their picture taken briefly. And just before the awards commence, I'd like to ask Wendy Lau, a longtime active member of the Ability First Coalition, representing Partners in Employment and Patch, to come back up here and join me one more time.
Okay, I'm tall, I'm good. So, Patch, thank you for this inspiring and actually me emotional, sharing your life journey with us and inspiring us. I think when I came to you, you're always my person that I look up to because of that one moment when I was at Canfit Pro that you came in when I sent everybody away. I was dead tired, and you showed up with those chocolate. and nobody was there. I was so tired. And that was Patch, just Launchingly just came in, gave me a bag of chocolate. Didn't say too much, here for you. And that's the one moment that's always in my mind and never forgotten. So I'm very thankful you're here to speak to us. And I'm very touched. So on behalf of Ability First and Partners in Employment and our employers here, and actually the London community, I would like to thank you. And I don't know where the gifts are.
I don't need to. Thank you, guys. I hope it's chocolates.
Happy belated birthday. So I'm going to start with the Small Business Award, and if you get a chance, please go through not just the program, but the information on all the nominated employers. Thank you to employers who are here and those who are nominated, and those who are not here have not been nominated because as a service provider, and I believe for a service member, we can do it without you. So my task today is to have all the small businesses, nominated businesses, in my little slip here, and read it out. For Small Business Award, it's Fire Roasted Coffee, One Village, Foundation, London Red Box and more, Monkey Business Solutions Group, St. Thomas Flight Center, Spare Parts Diner, Wise Buys, the Renovation Store. And the winner is Wise Buys, the Renovation Store. Due to capacity of the business. So I'm going to ask Lisa Lipson from Marcher Times to come up and get the award. Lisa?
Thank you, Wendy. At this time, I'd like to call up MP for London West, Kate Young, a former CFPL anchor. Come on up here, Kate. She is going to be introducing the 2017 Media Business Award.
This is always exciting. It feels like the Oscars. For medium-sized business, the nominees are CarStar Strathroy Collision Corporation, Creative Design, Domino's Pizza, Richmond Street North, Giant Tiger, Huron Street, London Waldorf School, Lynn's Bakery and Deli, Mount Pleasant Cemetery, London, Inc., Parkway Gardens Limited, Pierce Williams Christian Center, and Subway Western Road. Congratulations to all for being nominated. And the Ability First Employer of the Year is Giant Tiger, Huron Street. They're not here either. Is there someone else that will be accepting the award? Well, we'll have to get in touch with them and give them the good news. Oh, hi. Hi. Oh, okay. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Chauncey Carter, ATM.
Chauncey Carter, ATM.
Lori,
And Lori, both from ATM. Why don't you come over here? We'll have our picture. Here, you should hold it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to ask Corey Margolis representing Budweiser Gardens, Spectra Venue Management, who were the winners of this award last year, to come up and present rather, the 2017 Large Business Award.
Thanks for the invitation to present this great award. We're excited to pass the torch on to the next great large business. The nominees for the Large Business Award of the Year are Brown's Dining Solutions at Huron College, Cineplex Westmount VIP Cinema, Good Life Fitness Sherwood Forest Mall, King's University College, London Hunt and Country Club, Qualtech Seating Systems Magna International, and Value Village Wellington Road. And the winner is Qualtech Seating Systems Magna International.
I'd like to call up Paul Way, who's representing TD Bank. They are the sponsors of the Advocacy Award, and you'll be representing the 2017 Advocacy Award.
Thank you. Patch, thank you for your story today. That was very, very, very touching. I think every time you hear somebody speak, you take something away. I have an 18-year-old daughter, my youngest, and I had a huge fight with her about something last night, and I was trying to get her to change, and maybe I should give her a hug tonight and just accept her the way she is. So thank you for teaching me something this morning. I appreciate it. When Kate was talking, I was thinking the TD Bank Group has had a working relationship and a partnership with Ability First since almost the beginning as well, Kate, right? And we're pleased to still be here. I have the pleasure today of talking about our Advocacy Award and talking about the winner a little bit. Joe Hoffer, a senior partner with Cohen Hiley LLP, has demonstrated a commitment to the employment of people with a disability. With his influence, more than 20 years ago, the firm hired their first person with a disability into a full-time position, a role that continues there today. This groundbreaking hire, combined with Joe's solid belief in inclusive hiring practices, paved the way for the creation of a diverse workforce at the firm. Joe is very vocal on a local and provincial level about the benefits of hiring people with a disability. To this end, he has participated in public service announcements that advocate for inclusive workplaces, wrote letters of advocacy to all law firms encouraging them to hire, and spoke on local business publications to raise awareness in the business community about the benefits of the diversity hiring. He's also been a speaker at Queen's Park on the challenges faced by people with a disability, and was a member of former Lieutenant Governor David Sionley's Employment Accessibility Committee. Joe tirelessly demonstrates his commitment through actions, words, and his willingness to readily assist whenever presented with an opportunity. Joe exemplifies outstanding leadership by setting an example and consistently sets the bar for creating innovative, supportive, and inclusive workplaces. Please join me in congratulating Joe.
Congratulations to all the nominees and all of the award winners. One final reminder, check the whiteboard right by the auction table to see if you've won any of the items today. And finally, I'd like to call up Leanne Galley, who has put in a lot of work into today's event, to say a few words.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm nervous as Leslie probably was. I now understand how she felt earlier this morning. But I want to say thank you very much to everybody for coming today. This is my first year on the Ability First Coalition, and I'm quite proud of the work that has been done over the last year, and obviously the history of the Ability First. So it's been an honor to be a part of this organization, arranging the breakfast, but I certainly did not do it on my own. It was the entire coalition that helped with getting everything pulled together today. So I do thank my fellow members on the team. And I would also like to take a moment to thank Rita for the MC duties today. It is quite fitting that she has a personal story, and we actually did not know that when we requested to have Rita join us today. So it was nice to know that she has a personal connection to this coalition. So Rita, we have a gift for you. I should mention that the gift that we are giving to Rita, and you're welcome to open it, is from Hutton House. So we did go purchase an item from Hutton House, as we felt that that was a lovely gesture to honor what they do on a regular basis as well. So it is a very nicely hand-done platter.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Wendy has something more to say. Come on up, Wendy.
I am not on the program, but I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Leanne being the chair of the event and pulling us together, doing conference call while she's driving. Last minute, and she's done an amazing job. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Leanne for putting this together. And I think we have the biggest numbers. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Leanne, for putting that together. Is that I would like to bring Martin Wittenshaw up on stage, please. Martin. Martin has put this event together for 8 years, sometimes single-handedly. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Martin. And you know what, I'm not the only, probably I was the most difficult person in the group. So I am just gonna want to congratulate him and thank him for being a coach for this year. Thank you, Martin.